I don't really have cravings for any specific foods. I kind of feel like I'll go for anything when I want to eat. Do I still use the ball of light? This is a really good question because this is a part where people get confused. So if you're not craving a specific food is like ice cream or chocolate or potato chips or soda, and you have that hankering, but you just kind of want that food, that's when you would use the ball of light technique versus when you feel like, oh, I just want to eat, I know I'm not really hungry, but I just want to eat something, you might go for those unhealthy foods, but you could either have ice cream, you could have chips, you could have soda, kind of all of it would feel good in that moment. That's when you would use the echo tapping technique, okay? So usually when you can go for just any food, it's in an attempt to soothe an uncomfortable feeling, which is why we would use echo tapping. Whereas if you're having a craving for a specific food, it's usually an effort to feel a certain good feeling. And that's why we would use ball of light, because in the ball of light we give those good feelings back to the person that we shared that food with the first time that we ate it. Next question is, I did ball of light on my craving food and it worked. I got it all the way down to a 0, but then later that night it came back and I wanted to eat it again. Did I do something wrong? No, you didn't do anything wrong. So usually what will happen is when we start to make progress with our cravings, we'll notice, I remember this happened to me a lot, when I first started to get really serious about tapping for my weight issues. I was able to release my cravings with tapping, but because I had all this self-sabotage and sexual abuse that I hadn't cleared yet, later on that night I would find myself eating it, or I would find myself binging, because there's a big part of me that was actually really scared to lose the weight because I hadn't overcome the sexual abuse yet, or I hadn't overcome the other subconscious blocks that were in the place, that were holding on to the extra weight. And you guys all know that, how I explained that the weight is doing something positive for you. So the weight is doing something positive for you and it's threatened, it's going to cause you to eat when you're not really hungry. So in that moment, if you can, it would be great to do an echo tapping. So if that happened, if you did craving the technique in the morning and then at night you went back to, try to go find that food again, it would be great to use echo tapping in that moment. That's when you would use that technique, because you already collapsed the craving earlier. And I bet when you eat it, it doesn't even really taste good. You probably can't even really taste it, but you're just eating because there's some part of you that feels like it needs to eat that food in order to calm the anxiety of this other part.